the public funding panel. And I have 3 persons here on the stage representing different kind of public authorities investing to the games industry. First of all, could you please introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Kerstin Degerman, Head of Media Desk Finland, which is representing the EU media program, which is a funding system for the audiovisual field. And the gaming field has actually been a bit in and out, and now you will be in again. From the beginning of next year. So we are talking about a system with around about 100 million euros in different supports every year. It's not production funding really. It's more a question about development and marketing and not so big money, basically.
So you are from the European Union side and basically governing the European Union money, or is that correct?
Sorry, I'm covering what?
So your money is coming from European Union, so it's
yes,
European
yes,
Union
of course.
money.
Yes, sorry. Yeah. The money is actually coming from Brussels, and the applications you hopefully will make, they should be sent directly to Brussels.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Susanne Stadius. I'm from the Ely-keskus here in Uusimaa, and we do fund small and mid-sized enterprises at the general level. So yes, you are the media sexy part of startups, but you are competing at the same time with any other SMEs for this funding. And I have to stress that we have a very different situation in the Uusimaa region compared to other parts of Finland because of the European Union funding. We don't have the structural fund, that is area development money. So there's a lot of money for regional development. So if you do business in Oulu or Mikkeli or somewhere else, congratulate yourself, because then you probably will have a lot easier to get funding from the Ely-keskus. If you do business in the Uusimaa region, I'm sorry to say, there's very little money, and we have about 100,000 SMEs in this region, so the competition is tough.
Okay.
Hi, I'm still Kari Korhonen, and I'm from Tekes, from Skene Games Refueled program. And I think Tekes have been the most significant public funder in game industry area during the past 10, even 15 years. We have funded annually between 5, even 12 million euros to game industry, so which make about 65 million euros. And of course we cover all of Finland, and actually we are quite proud that we have been with the Finnish game industry these past years. Now we have seen the results, and we have a lot of evidence that our funding have been very proper to game companies, and of course we want to continue in that track.
Okay, thank you. One question for you, Kerstin. Could you hand the mic to Kerstin? Every time I hear 2 words, one of them being EU, another being funding, I take off the safety from my shotgun. How hard is it for game companies to get the funding, or how hard is it for game companies to actually govern the funding or administer the funding from EU?
Well, actually, I hope it will be easier than before, in a way. a bit hard. I mean, it's... if I talk a little bit about the future, although it's not sort of officially yet, it's not published yet, but can I now, KP, can I get into next year?
Yes, of course you can. The future is always more interesting than the past.
Actually, this is really, these are so fresh news that they are really not public yet. But last Friday, actually, the new Creative Europe, which will actually replace the media program, had all its sort of call of proposals gone through in Brussels, in all of them actually, for the whole program. And I have to take a little bit background here. The media program will be ended by the end of this year, so we will have just 2 more months to go. And it will be replaced by a new program called Creative Europe. And there will be 2 sub-programs in this program. One will be for culture, and the other one will be for more or less old media, but with some new features. And the content of this program was actually gone through last Friday in Brussels, and now we know, you shouldn't, publish actually this anywhere yet, but that there will be 2.5 million next year for the gaming field. And you can ask for 2 kinds of support. You could ask either for game concepts, or you could ask for a little bit bigger monies, which would be like game development. The first support, if I remember correctly, would be between 10 to 50,000 euros, and the second one would be between 10 and 50,000 euros. And what was KP asking, is this hard or not? Well, perhaps it's, in a way, it's asked for some bureaucracy, but not so much. Because if you compare, I imagine that if you compare to Tekes, they are at least as demanding, regarding paperworks. And in media, they are working more and more online all the time. And if you get funded, you have to send in papers, more or less proving what you have been saying in your application. But I wouldn't say bureaucracy is that hard. It takes its time, of course, because it's a big system. You have to wait for some months. But you could handle it. I mean, even one-person companies can handle these applications without using a lawyer and so on. And then again, is it hard to get funding or not in terms of competition? I really cannot say. I have seen what they have been sort of drafting, 2.5 million. They forecast to have like 20 supports given out next year. And they forecast they would be like 120,000 in general. But how many applications will there be? I mean, no one knows. And before, when media had more to do with the gaming field, I will just stop. Finland used to be quite active, and I mean, per deadline, there were not usually like 100 applications or something. There was sometimes like perhaps 25 applications or 40. And then they might give, for example, 15 supports. So that's quite a good percentage.
Who is going to help the companies to do those applications, or who is going to give the information? Are you the target person for the companies looking for the Creative Europe kind of funding?
We are happy to help. I mean, of course. And also, we will, of course, inform NeoGames and directly to all of those who want to be on our email list. Now I have to say I don't know what will be our mail addresses and so on next year, because as we go into this Creative Europe, we'll have to come back to that. But we will certainly tell you. Okay, thank you.
Susanne, one question for you. Okay. You said that you have no money, nix money, nicht mehr Geld. Do you have some services still which you could offer to the game developers, or something which is not money but something else?
Yes, of course. This First of all, we have to remember that we have 15 ely-keskus in Finland, and the other ones still have money. So you can apply for business development, you can apply for investments. It's business as usual quite in these areas. For us, the EU part, or the EU money will decline to almost nothing, and the national money to very little. We're talking about maybe 1/6 of the money we have this year. But still, we do have some services. For instance, if you need, in business development, you need an outside consultant for a few days for a very specific problem. You can get heavily subsidized consultancy services for a few days and with almost no bureaucracy. And this will be in place next year. And then you have to remember that all the recruitment part of our services, we do have training programs. There is funding for tailor-made training programs. If you do recruit, I know you have very special needs for your recruitment, but still, guys, when your business is growing, soon enough you'll need sales personnel, you'll need someone in administration, you'll need stuff like this, and there's still a lot of people left over from, for instance, Nokia, and they have special funds. We have actually a few extra millions to help train these people finding new jobs. So look at that part. Look at training and recruitment. And otherwise, I would say for development of your product, look at my colleague here, look at Tekes. It's no use for us to use the little funding we have competing with Tekes. And then one thing I want to stress, we're not the right part to come to when Tekes says no. It's not like we're happy to take the scraps. No, it doesn't work like that. We did divide our services differently. So this is the case at the moment. Hopefully this is not permanent. We still hope that there is some light in the tunnel. We're supposed to support SMEs to grow internationally. And at the moment, we can just give them thumbs up.
Okay, there was a comment from Kari.
Yes, you should know that Tekes is present there in the ELY centers as well. For instance, I'm sharing my time between Tekes, Pasila, Helsinki, and North Karelia ELY center. So Tekes is inside of ELY centers, and there are good advisors who can lead you also to the ELY center money, and in some cases it's even better. Some individual cases, it's even better to think first the little bit smaller development project with ELY money, and after that move to Tekes if we see that it's good for that company. So there's a quite huge portion of possibilities to forward when we are talking about the different kind of development cases.
Okay, one more question for you, Kari, actually. In Tekes Skene program, the theme of the program is Games Refueled. And I know that you have been investing, and everybody here knows that you have been investing money for the games industry, but what does actually the Games Refueled stands for? What are you looking at the moment? Is there something you are looking specifically from the game companies, from the investing point of view?
Yeah, good question. Actually, I want to watch the future. I want to see that when you are using Tekes money, you will be able to develop your company at that level that you are extremely professional. You are a team of professionals which do your job extremely well, systematic way, and you use the Tekes money in a kind of so that your objectives are there in a longer period of time development work, not just there in a next game release or a first game release when we are talking about the startups. In that way, you can create a stable business environment into your company, pipeline or platform or whatever, and after that you can systematically produce games after games, and also I had to point that this business development, today we have heard breaking news what has happened there in the Supercell. It's a good example of how to collect a good team and how to implement new kind of ways to lead a company and give more and more authorities to your professionals there. And that's a very good example what we are aiming at. We are aiming at, of course, success stories, but the individual success stories is not enough. Of course, we want to see that there are more and more companies which are gaining the value and turnover to Finnish game industry. And that way, we are aiming at that Finnish game industry is producing tax revenue, a lot of tax revenue, new jobs, and other benefits to society. That's a long-term vision which we have in Tekes. And we have succeeded with the game industry. I think one reason is that Tekes grants and loans and kind of those projects are very suitable to Tekes, and those companies have used the card of Tekes very well, and they have learned how to prepare their business plans, and they have prepared how to kind of create a sound and balanced funding plan, and how to get private investors with those companies. And all of these good things, we want to kind of create a sustainable gaming ecosystem in Finland, which frequently produce different kind of success stories. I'm not talking about some individual games. Well, it's great that if you have some hits, but I'm talking about the everything which included in that kind of good and flexible and dynamic business.
Okay, thank you. Susanne, did you have something to comment on that?
Yeah, actually, Kari came very close to that. I would like to take 2 steps back and remind you that we're using your money. We're using your taxpayer money, and we do have an objective. We share risk and we buy time. I think the public funding is good for sharing risk. You guys take risks all the time, but if we can see that by sharing the risk, the outcome for the society in the future is great, then we might be interested in sharing that risk. There's no point in just being in there for the fun of it, even though you look like fun guys, but we need to see, the payout is of course the opportunities, the work opportunities, the tax incomes, the export revenues and stuff like that. And the other way we can do by using your money and give it to different companies is buying time. We can speed things up if we do it right. So in a way, I'd like you to, when you apply for funding, you tend to be very much in your cocoon, looking at your product, looking at your business. I would like you to argue at least a few lines why this is, we would be interested in putting taxpayers' money in this project. What is the outcome at the bigger scale in some years?
Okay, thank you. Kerstin,
Yes?
one very tough question for you. Kari mentioned about that they are investing to business, and Susanne basically said the same thing, that they are investing to business. Are you investing to the business or are you investing to the product? I mean, are you investing to the game as a game, or are you looking for investing to the business as everybody else?
Actually, what you are applying for is actually for a project. I mean, you send in. I mean, if you could perhaps divide the question in two parts. What you also, of course, should have a company, obviously. And also, I mean, I have to be philosophical again. Media has sort of two goals here. They want to strengthen the European industry. Now I'm talking also gaming industry, audiovisual industry, all these industries. But they also want to keep the stories in Europe. We also have a cultural sort of policy here. So it's sort of twofolded. And I would say that, of course, you should have a company. You should show that you have distributed, sold something before. You should sell your project to media also, showing that you believe in it as a commercial success. But nevertheless, we are talking projects here. I mean, talking stories or concepts, and perhaps more than these guys.
So you are also interested in the content itself? In
the content itself. I would strengthen that media has even some criteria regarding the content, that they would like it to be narrative. That's a line drawn in water, I would say, in some games. But you could keep that in mind, that we are in a way more project-oriented than these guys, and it's very concrete. I mean, it's for media. It's that even if the new program as a whole is not there, I mean, they will have to vote about it still in the Parliament, and the European Council will say yes, hopefully in November. But also the content of the whole program is already there, and for you, it looks so that you apply. Probably they open the call in February. This is advanced guessing, but still. And there will be a deadline, I think, in May. And there will, I think, be only one deadline next year. And then, of course, to be able to apply, it's not enough just with a business plan or something. You should have a good product that you believe in. In that sense, it's very, in a way, conservative also.
So basically the reason why I asked this is that I have noticed that behind every successful game business there is actually a game.
Yeah.
And there's
somewhere deep down there, there is a game.
Some funding for the games also.
Yes.
Okay, but it's very good to hear that the games are back in business in European Union level.
Happy.
I'm happy too. We are both happy. But we are running out of time. And we have like 2 minutes for 45 seconds for each of you for the closing argument about something, the topic you choose. So let's begin from Kari, because usual suspect. Don't look me like that.
Whatever you are developing or whatever you are aiming, prepare your plans so good as possible, because that's a key question. There's a huge competition out there in the gold world, and if you're preparing your projects or whatever you are doing, you are on a good track. And I promise you, we are very open to all the new openings and new customers and new startups there in Tekes.
The public funding scene is said to be a jungle, and it is, unfortunately. So my message to you is, even if I don't have the money, I understand the jungle quite well, so give me a call if you need to find out what it's all about. We didn't even touch Finvera, the government bank, if you like. There's a lot of other institutions with public funding, but if you need to understand the scene completely, just contact any of us.
Yes, same goes, of course, for media, that it's not that hard, and we are there, Inkeri Lundgren, my colleague, and me, and we will certainly help you. You will not, the application will not be the hardest bit. But the one thing I wanted to say is that we will have a launching thing in January together with the culture program. And we hope to have it the 16th of January. And I would really be very happy to have a lot of you gaming people coming there. Because, I mean, if there is a game down there, it's also always a question about people. And we hope to arrange something there where people could meet. And I'm talking film people from my part, and our colleagues from the cultural program will bring, I mean, all the other sectors. And you are invited also. And if we change the date, we will certainly let you know. But for this moment, it looks it would be in Lume, the 16th of January. Welcome, and there will be some wine, I hope, and there will be short speeches. And above all, I would just want people to cross-work and get to know each other.
Okay, if there is short speeches and lots of wine, it sounds like games industry thingy. Okay, thank you.